My Lord and Chancellor, in the introduction to Archaeology, Theories, Methods and Practice, our honorary graduand describes archaeology as an exciting quest, a rich mixture of danger and detective work. In case this should give rise to any doubt, I should make it clear that Professor Lord Renfrew is not Indiana Jones. Nor should any other Hollywood connection be seen in the fact that since 1981 he has occupied the Disney chair at Cambridge, one of the oldest and most prestigious chairs of archaeology. Before his election to that chair, he had been for 9 years Professor of Archaeology and head of the department in Southampton, and it is a great pleasure to welcome him back to his old haunts, together with his wife Jane and their daughter Helena. As he comes before you today, he will no doubt recall that he was once public orator here himself, but he will not, I hope, see this occasion as an opportunity for comparative performance appraisal. Anyone seeking to appraise Colin Renfrew will quickly discover that he is a man of many parts. Since 1986, he has been the Master of Jesus College, Cambridge, using his undoubted diplomatic and administrative skills and his apparently boundless energy to lead his college into the next century. Since 1991, he has been a life peer, Lord Renfrew of Camesthorne, an active and influential member of the House of Lords, speaking from the Conservative benches on a wide range of issues, particularly education, and on occasion trenchantly critical of government policy. He is a passionate devotee of modern art, whose enthusiasm and eclecticism are reflected in the contemporary paintings and sculptures to be seen throughout the Master's Lodge. Above all, he is a distinguished working archaeologist who over the last 30 years has produced an awesome list of major papers and articles and a succession of influential books, including Before Civilization, 1973, Problems in European Prehistory, 1979, Approaches to Social Archaeology, 1984, and The Archaeology of Cult, 1985. He has challenged the established view of European archaeology with new radiocarbon chronologies, developed new ways of studying prehistoric trade, and rewritten Aegean archaeology. He has served on many national committees and as a member of many official and semi-official organisations, including the Ancient Monuments Board for England, the Royal Commission on Historical Monuments, England, the Historic Buildings and Monuments Commission for England, and the Ancient Monuments Advisory Committee. He is a trustee of the British Museum. Colin Renfrew began his academic career in 1965 when he joined the University of Sheffield as a lecturer. He is remembered there for his extraordinary drive and vigour, his supercharged typewriter, and the rhythmical chanting, which apparently was an essential accompaniment to his work. He is also remembered for his foray into the political arena, when, as the Conservative candidate, he contested a by-election in Sheffield Brightside and reduced a safe Labour majority of 20,000 to a slightly worrying 5,000. Had he won, Colin Renfrew might now have been demolishing Jeremy Paxman on Newsnight, instead of opening up archaeology to a wider audience, as he has done so effectively on programmes like Chronicle and Horizon. Such are the twists and turns in what Louis MacNeice called Fate's Great Bazaar. In 1972, he left Sheffield and came to the chair of archaeology in Southampton. The department was young and lively, and Colin Renfrew was encouraged to make it livelier still and to expand its horizons. Apart from the energy and drive to which I have referred, he brought with him his own research interests in the area of the Balkans and the Aegean, the critical bridge, as it has been called, between Europe and the Near East, and his burgeoning interest in theoretical and methodological issues. To his students, he opened up the whole world, bringing distinguished international figures into the department to exchange ideas. Beyond the department, a period as Dean of Arts enabled him to hone his skills in institutional diplomacy and in getting things done. He is famous, or should that be notorious, for his fearless expeditions into the nooks and crannies of the arts building in search of usable space. He had not been with us long when the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Gower, took him aside and said that he had an important assignment for him. This early strike by Professor Gower resulted in Colin Renfrew's chairmanship of the Day Nursery Subcommittee, a task that he undertook with typical brio. He was also chairman of the John Hansard Gallery Committee, a task which sat well with his own interest in contemporary art. When he moved to Cambridge and the Disney Chair in 1981, he left a strong and vibrant department with an international reputation. His central preoccupations as an archaeologist have been the nature of cultural change in prehistory, the interaction of language, agriculture, trade, and social hierarchy, and the unreliability of the accepted chronology of the ancient world. In his youth, he had seen examples of early Bronze Age sculpture from the Cyclades and admired their breathtaking simplicity and expressive force. It was an admiration that was to inform much of his later work and make the Cycladic Islands a main focus of his research. His doctoral dissertation on the prehistory of those islands questioned the traditional colonizing view of the prehistory, and his book, The Emergence of Civilization, in 1972, placed finds in that area in the wider ecological and cultural context, reflecting his developing interest in systems theory and the intricate ecological relationships that governed prehistoric Aegean life. His excavations at Quanta Ness and on Milos led him towards social archaeology, the study of social structures and the symbolic beliefs lying behind them. And he set out his thinking in this area in his inaugural lecture at Cambridge, Towards an Archaeology of Mind. A few years later, he turned his attention to the vexed issue of Indo-European languages, and his book, Archaeology and Language, in 1987, was a major contribution to this controversy. Not surprisingly, it had a mixed reception. One critic said that, in wandering into the morass of an archaeolinguistic problem, Professor Renfrew may well have set his pigeon among the cats. Our honorary graduand, whose inclination is towards engagement rather than detachment, will not be too upset by that. More recently, in 1991, he brought together his personal and professional interests in The Cycladic Spirit, a book which presents a moving account of the meaning, purpose, and form of Cycladic art, and a searching exploration of Cycladic aesthetics and Western art. It is written in Colin Renfrew's characteristically elegant, lucid, and accessible style. And it returns us to the point at which we began, for it is not only an intellectually rigorous book, it is also a romance about faraway places and the remote past, an elegy for a lost world. My Lord and Chancellor, Colin Renfrew is a distinguished scholar who combines a sense of the continuities of the remote past with a passionate interest in the need for social change. Like T.S. Eliot, he believes that time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. His contribution to our shared knowledge and experience of the human past is immense, and in honouring him here today, we pay tribute to that contribution, not only on the world stage, but also here in Southampton. I am delighted to present to you Andrew Colin Renfrew, Lord Renfrew of Canesthorne, as eminently worthy of the degree of Doctor of Letters, honoris causa.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, all that was splendid. What remains is tedious. But I would like to, as Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, welcome you all here today. I think I'd just like to mention that I've now had the considerable honor of being Chancellor of this pretty considerable university now for 10 years or so. And I'm still trying to find out what chancellors are supposed to do. It always eluded me, this. But I've one thing they are supposed to do, and that is to put in appearances mortarboard aloft and decked in these glorious, flimsy, golden togs at these congregations each year. And I'm very glad that that is one of the Chancellor's duties, because I always find at this university these are very enjoyable, informal, relaxed occasions, and I think this is the case here this evening. I will not make one of my longer orations. You may just be conceivably glad to hear, but I should just like to extend the warmest of warm welcomes, warm in most senses of the word, to everyone present here this afternoon. Welcome to you all, be you proud parents or relatives or friends, or be you incredibly erudite professors, or be you highly intelligent and distinguished graduates. Welcome to you all. And I would just like to say, since I think this will be my last chance of saying this publicly, I've listened now to, I think, our public orator singing the praises with wit and wisdom and extraordinary knowledge of 5 or 6 of 7. All right, he's very accurate too. Of those of whom I have had the honor of conferring honorary degrees these last few days, and he does a marvelous job. I really would like to congratulate him on the job he does. Well, the public orator has told you all, or almost all, about Colin Renfrew, if I may so term him. My colleagues in the Lords were, while still quite a new boy, if I can use the term, he plays a notable part and speaks, as the public orator has said, with notable independence, and it's a very good thing that he does. And I should also like to acknowledge a debt which I owe to Colin Renfrew, and that is 2 of his books. I haven't read some of these incredibly complicated ones, but I have read, and read with enormous pleasure, 2 books of his. One, which I think he was the editor of, a book on the archaeology, the marvelous archaeology of the Orkneys, when I paid 2 visits there to Orkneys, to Scapa, where my dad had the Grand Fleet in the First World War, as some of you may recall, who were alive in those times. And it's a marvelous book about that marvelous archaeology. And then there is the lovely book, which the public orator referred to as The Cycladic Spirit, I think it's called, with, I think, some of the most beautiful photographs I've ever seen in any book. Well, I'm very much in Colin's debt for these, and indeed this university and archaeology and learning in this country is very much in Colin's debt. Now,